Alright guys, so today, first thing I want to do to this Corolla is do a little maintenance on it. So I'm going to change the oil and I'm going to change the transmission fluid as well. This is also in hope to try to fix that little noise I hear every time I accelerate. Just to kind of also give you guys an idea of like what I'm hearing. Like it sounds like it's in this general area, like on the driver's side, versus like it doesn't sound like a pulley or anything like that. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not going to be that, but it does not sound like that. It sounds like it's on this side of the car. So today, that's what we're going to do, is just jack the car up, do a quick oil change, as well as change out this transmission fluid. So if you do have a manual transmission, this is going to be it's a pretty simple process, as long as the bolts break loose on you pretty easily. So, but when you do the transmission, you want to make sure your car is going to be pretty level, so that way when you fill it back up, you're going to make sure everything's level, like it's on the ground. So, and I mean, it's very simple and easy, and I'll show you guys if you guys are interested. But yeah, so let's jack this thing up. So I got all 4 jack stands on the car, just enough so I can get under there and work a little bit. But one thing I noticed when I was jacking this car up, and I'm glad I noticed it, but the rear here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that rear strut, the bolt is coming off of it. You can see that one is on there really good. And that one literally looks like it's a few threads on and then it's about to fall off. So luckily I saw that. Because what was weird too is I have noticed, like, if I took like if the car flexed a certain way, like leaving a drive, well, not really even leaving the driveway, but like turning off of a road that had like a slant on it, I always heard like a little like clunk noise, but it's only happened like 3 or 4 times, but it sounded like it was in the rear of the car. And I wonder if that's it or not. So, but I don't know. Those struts look like someone had replaced them at one point. And I'm assuming that that bolt just never got tightened properly. So definitely going to have to snug that up too before I put this back down on the ground. But so let's start with something very easy. Let's do the oil. And something else too, just kind of peeking in here. It honestly doesn't look too bad. Usually, like, sometimes you can tell. I can definitely tell you, like, on the Matrix, like, you can definitely see, like, a lot of, like, oil buildup and stuff like that inside of here. This engine actually seems pretty clean just by popping off the thing. But time will only tell, sooner or later, if I need to pop off the valve cover or not. Because when I did look at this car, I noticed as well that there was, like, some oil leaking right here. But honestly, I just think it's from lazy people doing oil changes and just missing the oil fill plug right there. So hopefully I could just clean that up and there is no actual oil leak on this car, because this car really isn't known to leak oil like on the valve covers. So I don't think it's leaking, but I'll just clean it up and we'll see if it comes back or not. All right, let's see how snug this. Oh, honestly, it wasn't too bad. I was expecting it to be really bad. But honestly, it looks like there's no washer on here either. But it's not leaking oil, so. That oil honestly looks really clean. I'll let that drain for a second. Now let's hope this oil filter will come off relatively easy. Oh, I guess it wasn't too bad. I've had much tighter ones on here, but it's like even when you try to be careful, you still end up making a mess. Because right as soon as I started draining the oil was hitting here and then like literally bouncing off of there, and literally for a few seconds and it starts making a mess. So, but luckily I had some cardboard down. But honestly, I have no idea what brand they're using. This green O-ring. If you guys know what brand comes with a green O-ring, let me know. But filter doesn't look terrible. I don't see anything. Because the OEM Toyota filters come with a black one, so not exactly sure what O-ring they have on here, but gonna take it off. For you guys who work on your Corollas, do you guys do all your work yourself, or do you guys end up taking it somewhere else to do it? The problem with me is I just don't trust anybody else. So, and I would rather, if I mess something up, I'd rather take the blame for it than a company that doesn't really know what they're doing. So, I mean, some people, I'm not going to say that there's everybody's bad, but a lot of technicians and stuff, like usually people who they hire at Toyota are like beginner people who have like never really worked on a car before, and they're relying on them to change your oil, and you're relying on them to hopefully do everything correctly. If not, then you'll most likely have problems. So I don't know, I just like to do things myself, but some people just don't want to, I guess, to have the hassle of doing it. We got everything all tightened up down below, so let's add some oil to this. I believe this is like a little under 5 quarts, like 4.5 quarts. And if you guys are interested, I'll put links to all this stuff below. I always just order all my oils and stuff off of Amazon. Super convenient. I mean, sometimes you might find it cheaper at Walmart, but if it's on sale. But usually I think like 5 quarts is like 25 bucks or something like that, which is not bad. Knowing that the dealerships now charge like $75 to do like a simple oil change like this. So oil change was simple enough. So now let's hop onto the transmission. Like I said, I'll show you where there's gonna be a fill and a drain bolt. And I believe they're actually labeled like specifically, so you don't open up the wrong hole on the transmission. But we'll hop under there and we'll take a look. All right, so hopping on the right side, or the driver's side, you're gonna go under the car. And so right here is going to be your transmission. So you're gonna look for the bolts that have labels on it that say read owner's manual before refilling as well. So that one is your drain bolt. And then coming from the drain bolt, there's gonna be this tray. We might need to remove it, but the bolt is right there. So I believe they're 22 millimeter. I'll double check, but we want to make sure we can get rid of the fill one first, and then we'll do the drain. Because the last thing we want to do is drain it and then we can't fill it. So let's just make sure we can do that. Let's find out what size it is and then crack the fill one open first. All right, so after checking a few, I believe it's actually a 24 millimeter socket. So 24 millimeter. All right, well, I got this one loose. Okay, well, shit. I don't think that much fluid should actually be coming out of there. I think this thing is actually overfilled, but because usually you want just a little bit to dribble out, and that's when you know you're full, but there's quite a bit more coming out of that than I expected. So, but the fluid honestly doesn't look too bad. I mean, I think maybe someone has actually changed this as well, but yeah, I think that's a lot more fluid than it should be coming out of there. Oh, shit. Okay, a lot I'm making a huge mess today. So I was not expecting to come out like that, because I do not remember coming out like that on my other Corolla. I don't know if this fluid is thinner than it's supposed to be, but yeah, definitely making a mess, that's for sure. I'm gonna try to clean all this up real quick, so that way I can hop back under here and actually fill it up and do everything. But yeah, so those are the two plugs you're going to want to remove for your transmission if you're going to do this. Just crack the top one just to make sure you know you're loose, and then probably do the bottom one first, so that way it kind of like pulls like a vacuum a little bit. But either way, it's probably gonna make a mess. So, because if it does flow out, it hit the subframe. All right, so I cleaned up as much as I could. I'll definitely clean up a lot more when I pull the car out. But so this is the fluid I'm gonna be using. It's 70W75 GL4. So that's the weight. So 7075. So like I said, I don't know if that was the same stuff that should be in here or not. It did seem a little bit thinner than I remember, but this is what I put in my last Corolla, and it actually fixed one of my synchro grinds I was having. So I think this is some really good fluid. And you're also going to want to get a pump, so that way you can pump it in there. You can also probably gravity feed it too if you really wanted to, but I just find a pump like this works pretty good. So I put a plug back in the bottom. I don't know if you guys